Well, hello, everybody. I am Julie Murphy, and we are here to awaken your health.
Woohoo! And I am 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐵, the spiritual bodybuilder, and I'm going to be talking to you guys a little more on the health side, and we're both going to start talking about energy and seeing what the hell is going on in the world right now.
Yeah, it's so important. I started doing, so my book is Awaken Your Wealth, which people may or may not be aware. And what we don't realize from a money perspective is that the money actually comes as the result of everything else. And we either work things out or we act it out, and we do it through our money, through our health, and our relationships, I would say. And so I started doing these series of Awaken Your Health with Nam because of the fact that he's the body dude. I'm not.
I'm the body dude.
My stuff acts out in my body. So this dude right here helped me through a lot of it.
So we do.
Oh yeah, mine aren't as big, but okay, I'll go with it.
Yeah, you get it. Oh yeah.
So and it's been fun. It's been like what, 5 months we've been doing this?
Wow, has it been that long?
I know.
Time has been
Weird.
weird this year. It's like not just speeding up, but it just feels different.
It definitely feels different.
Right?
Almost to the fact of like foreign, because different doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Right. No, not at all.
But some people are interpreting, especially those who are operating on an emotional level and fear these days.
Yeah.
They're interpreting the different as bad. And I really want people to understand that this is not bad. It's just a new norm that we're moving into.
Right. I think
afraid of it.
I think what makes them feel like it's bad is that they're trying to control, because it feels like it's speeding up and going deeper at the same time. And as it's going deeper and speeding up, you can't control it. You can't hold on to it. You can't figure it out. It has to go through its phases, right?
Right. Yep. Oh, sorry. That was me trying to put my... You hear yourself an echo? Sorry about that.
Whoops. One of my people asked if you're having trouble on your Facebook page.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that she's aware of.
It seems to be working no problem when I watch myself.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess there we go. But thank you for bringing that to our attention. Appreciate it. Yeah. So we were just chatting, and there's a lot of very common themes coming up right now in the energies.
Yeah. So I had mentioned
showing up. Well, it's showing up for her.
Yeah, Facebook is looking like it's working. No problem. Deanna says hello. Hello, Deanna. Thank you for letting me know it's working on your end.
Thank you, Deanna. Appreciate you.
And so what I've been witnessing in the last week is that I have an awful lot of clients and people, other followers, that there's a lot of physical pain showing up in people's bodies lately. And we talked a few sessions ago about that pain in the body could be ascension symptoms. As our energetic vibration of the earth continues to rise, but you had brought up a valid point. So would you like to talk about what you were talking about when we were
positively? Yeah. So
in a positive manner.
In a positive manner, of course. Yes. In an educational manner. So this whole thing that was being brought to the world's attention at the beginning of the year, right? About 5G.
Right.
This 5G thing, they started just right when the whole lockdown thing started. They magically just started putting up all these towers, right? Well, now all these towers are lifted up, and it's no coincidence that Saturn is now moving over to the area that it was at in, I believe, March, February timeframe. So now they're activating all these 5G towers, and now like people are now having phones that are connected to 5G. So all these 5G energies, there have been a few double-blind placebo studies that are showing proof that 5G is affecting organic cellular tissue with the same symptoms as the Rona. So
the Rona.
The Rona. That's what I'm going to call it, because they're
Rona. She's a sweet old girl.
Yeah, not so sweet. Right? She's manipulative. She's insidious. She'll come around the back and anyways.
But I just want to say, like, we just did this, like, there are so many people so stressed out, and we have to realize that this stress out is actually
help.
lowering your immune system and it's actually not good for you. So you have to make light, and it's not that you're not taking it seriously. You know, I get it, what's going on. I understand, but it's all in how we choose to focus on it.
Yeah.
And to your point that, you know, you were saying that the 5G towers are starting to create symptoms. There's been studies now done that it's affecting people's physical bodies.
It is. It is. So it can create flu-like symptoms. It'll make you feel lethargic, tired, headaches, migraines, basically similar to Ascension symptoms, but much more intense, and it'll feel a little bit different. Probably going to assume that you're coming down with, you know, the virus. But the fact is that there's a lot of things that are affecting this. A big part, of course, is stress, right? So this whole experience kind of reminds me of like a vaccine commercial, right? It's like they're saying one thing in a certain way, like all happy and yay, yay, or, you know, or saying that, you know, all these side effects are going to happen, but yet showing a picture of everything is perfect and happy. This is misinformation. This is misdirection. This is disinformation. And so we really need to, you know, consider getting some EMF protection. All right. EMF protection is very important right now, and letting go of control. Like right now, one of the big lessons for us is to let go of that control and surrender to the process and take care. There's nobody out there except maybe 2 or 3 people that are talking about strengthening your immune system. And
I am really actually surprised about that. And I've watched friends actually be attacked on social media when they were asking people to just like, why is it that we're not boosting our immune systems?
Right.
And
that's what we should be doing.
I think our physical bodies are the best defense to anything. But when you look at America, as on average, we're not eating healthy food as a whole. You know, the obesity rates are through the roof in this country. And I think we just need to take a look at a lot of the things that we have been avoiding actually looking at in our own lives are being tested by this.
100%.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so I think it's so important that, you know, I said to one of my kids this weekend, she goes, Mom, am I getting fat? And I was like, oh my God, for a 7-year-old to say that to me. And she has gained weight because of the stress of everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
And I just said to her, I go, honey, we're all just growing and we're learning. And I said, we have to allow a safe space for us all to learn and grow, because we are shifting to this new arena. You know, I always say that the thoughts that we have, the words that we speak, and the feelings that we have are the vibration that we put out to the world. And that's exactly what's going to come back at you.
Right.
And we have got to understand that we are all being called to a higher level of vibration, whether that vibration is coming from 5G cell towers, or if it's coming from operating from a place of oneness, because of the coronavirus is hitting everyone. It doesn't matter what your color is, what your sex is, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. It's hitting you. Like you're human. It's getting you.
You know,
like, so
I will say that I think that pretty much, like, at least in this country, we have pretty much reached herd immunity naturally. So, I mean, that's
I heard that herd immunity it takes a couple of years to do that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways that it can unfold, but I mean, it's been spreading incredibly quickly, right? I'm pretty sure I had it back in December before this whole thing even freaking started.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I had something in December with a cough thing that
it's
like a 2-week pain in the butt, and it wouldn't go away like a normal one would.
Right. So I think that we've all, you know, had a brush with it. It wasn't a big deal. It was like a really bad cold. It went away. Now, just like when you're a kid, you get the chicken pox, you get it, you build natural immunity. Now you're good. But they don't want to tell people that works, because they're still operating the entire healthcare system, at least in the Western world, is operating from an obsolete ideology, germ theory. And germ theory was proven false 60 years ago. Not to mention, now we have an entire class of that we use that has evolved called epigenetics, right? That also
that's the new science these days, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the entire scientific healthcare system needs to be completely scrubbed and revamped, because it is all based off of a lie.
Makes sense.
And now we are a product of that lie right now.
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that we have to realize as a whole, like, we have to go back to that the human body is an amazing thing. If I look back at all the work that I did with Deepak Chopra from 2007 to the present day, it's been a lot of years that I've spent being around medical professionals and people in the health sector that we need to realize, you know, even Dr. Mark Hyman talks about this. He's another great resource from a medical doctor perspective, that the human body, you know, Dr. Mark Hyman talks about how the human body can heal itself. His 10-day detox is all about food. You know, he's a functional medicine doctor, and he talks about that food is medicine. And he's not the only one that says that. I know a lot of people say that, but
of course,
but why, again, it's what we focus on. Yeah. Like, what do we want to focus on? It's like, our bodies are amazing. Our bodies can heal something like that.
Yeah.
We just have to choose that path.
Right.
And so many of us are choosing to lash out at other people right now. We're choosing to stick into the whole duality and polarity of I'm right, you're wrong. Right. And none of that is going to get any of us anywhere. No, and honestly, when you point the finger at somebody else, it just means you're actually hurting your own personal health, because that means you have something unresolved in yourself, because you're trying to still fix something outside of yourself. And really the only person you can fix is yourself.
Well, but even that word fix, I don't like to use, because if you believe that you're broken, it's more about balancing or accepting.
Yeah, I talk about that with money too, that it has to be in harmony with each other. Because you never actually reach balance.
Yeah, right?
Because that's like a suffering cycle. It's like, oh, I need to have a balanced home work life. You never balance your home life and your work life, ever. But you have to have them in harmony with each other.
Right, harmony. Harmony is a better word than balance.
Yeah, they have to be in flow, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, sometimes home takes more, and sometimes work takes more. And sometimes when I became a homeschool teacher, these past few months, like, that took some time too.
Yeah, no kidding.
But we have to remember that all these suffering patterns come from our subconscious mind. And we talk about it all the time, that if you're really pointing the finger at something outside of yourself, like whether it's whatever conspiracy theory you want to hook onto, or Republican or Democratic or whatever, if you're pointing the finger outside, that means something's unresolved within you.
Right. Right.
And I really wish, because go inside. I don't believe that this virus is going to stop until we all turn inside to our own hearts and our own knowing and follow the path that our soul knows it's supposed to be following. The jobs will keep falling away. Your health will keep deteriorating if we don't shift it to an inside out dynamic as opposed to the outside in. Which is why go ahead.
And that's exactly the distinction between the evolving soul and the one that is stuck in fear, or the 5D or 3D, or whatever it is that you want to call it. There's those that are sticking to this agenda, to this narrative, if you will. Yeah. And there are others that are seeing the flaws, or seeing like things that don't add up, and thinking for themselves, and opening up and growing and learning and stepping in their power. And, you know, to be honest, I don't think everybody's going to change their mind. I don't think everybody's going to grow and become a part of this new world that we're creating.
Well, and what I come to understand is that if we're not evolving, then we're going to perpetuate our suffering cycles.
100%. Yeah.
And you're going to continue to have life experiences that actually keep hitting you over the head, and they'll get harder and harder. You know, Carolyn Mace years ago would always say that you must hit a crisis point in your life. You have to have a crisis event to actually shift your life. And I don't believe that to be the case today.
I think in the third dimension that's how it happens, but in the fifth dimension, that's not how it happens.
Agreed. And we are in the midst of transitioning.
Right. Now I will say that, you know, especially with the astrology and everything going on, that you know, we are coming up to the Pluto return. I believe that, you know, this revolution that we are creating, it's gonna get to the crisis point in the world, and especially in our country, where there's going to be a civil war, where there's going to be people that believe so strongly in what we are doing, growing and evolving and learning. And there's going to be others that believe so strongly in keeping things the same that it's going to get to a point where it's going to get ugly. But
you just described me and my ex-husband.
Yeah, I hear you.
When we're trying to find our new space, it's like we're both on two different ends of the pendulum. Not good or bad, it just is.
Just is. That's how it goes, I guess.
So from a physical body perspective, so we know you brought up epigenetics earlier, that we now know that more information goes from our gut to our brains.
Oh yeah.
Right. And this is where a lot of the people, and I can also say that this is what I've been feeling as well, that's where a lot of the pain, it's around the gut area these days and the GI tract. And I know that on an emotional level, Louise Hay's book talks about the fact that, when you can't let go of control, that's where you get stopped up in your GI tract. And,
right.
And so a lot of this is about surrendering and trusting. And when we're not surrendering and trusting what the next place is, literally your physical body jams up. And I talk about in my book, Awaken Your Wealth, that we need to listen to our body intelligence. So do you have any, like noticing those patterns and stuff like that? Like if people are having GI tract challenges,
first of all,
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. First of all, you should definitely download my free ebook, because it goes way into all that stuff. Because what you're talking about energetically.
Where can they find your free ebook?
Spiritualbodybuilder.com is my website. You just scroll down and you'll see it says enter your name and your email address, and it'll download right to your phone or your computer, and you'll be able to handle that. Now,
what's the name of it?
Decrypting the language of the human body.
Thank you.
So just like the name states, right? It's talking about understanding the interaction between the physical, emotional, and energetic bodies and what they mean, especially emotionally, because we need to be able to embrace these emotional aspects in order to integrate them and let them go. And we can get caught up in these perpetual states of control through our need to understand, to figure it out. We get caught up in these places where we don't know what's going on because we don't know what we're feeling. We're not in touch with our heart. And then we get lost in these places of always feeling confused, trying to look for a reason or an answer, when the fact is the answer is not trying to find the answer, which is a paradox. And it took me years to figure that out, because I am stubborn as fuck. Right.
What's just like the acceptance of what is, right?
Acceptance of what is, exactly. So when we have gut issues down here, the digestion represents letting go, right? Letting go, which is surrender.
Right.
Okay. Now, also energetically speaking, the chakras, okay? The lower three chakras represent the survival aspects of the human consciousness.
Right.
So our fight or flight responses, like everything that is instinctual. So when we evolve, when we grow, we activate the upper chakras, and we start to interact with the upper levels of chakras. But in order to be able to live from that place, you have to have your heart open. When we have our heart closed, generally speaking, we're operating from the sacral chakra, which is lust, which is greed, which is desiring money and power for manipulative means. It's that lack, like, oh, I need to get all this and then harbor it and then keep it as mine because it's all mine and I work my ass off for it. That all these lack mentalities keep you from letting things go. They make you hold on to everything. You can't.
Yeah, they're gripping tighter. Yeah.
Right. And that same thing with like fitness. Like if you're always contracting and you're never expanding, then you're only doing half the work, and that makes the central nervous system go into fight or flight, and you get stuck like that. And over time, literally, like mom used to say, like, don't sit too close to the TV because your eyes will get, your eyes are glued to the TV. Well, guess what?
Yes, how did you know my mom said that?
Like that. I mean, it'll take a lot, but, little things like that actually bring on a whole new meaning when you think about this kind of stuff.
Right.
So yes, learning to surrender and to let go. But this all is predicated upon the notion that you have to feel your feelings.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people are not willing to do. If they're in a relationship that they're unhappy with, people are like, well, I got to do it for the kids. I got to do it for the finances. I got to do it because I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't know what I'm going to. That's the fucking shit that you have to embrace. You may not know, but you know what? When you make that decision, that's going to light a fire under your ass to take some kind of action. And you have to face that fear within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about stepping into that unknown, right?
And we've become so used to a controlled society and a controlled environment. Like, we like our predictable that every morning we get up, we go get our Starbucks and we go get, we go to work. And that whole pattern has been completely disrupted for everybody. And we don't know what the new pattern is yet.
Right.
I've been finding it super interesting that so many are trying to go back to creating those same patterns, and it's not happening.
Nope.
It's not, we're not going back to that new norm. And I am so grateful in the fact that we've been given an opportunity to observe a way of being in the world that feels so much better on so many levels, because we're not in the rat race anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you noticed everything, all this stuff that's been going on for the last 6 months has given the opportunity for us to really look at what we really want in life.
Exactly.
Because now our natural distractions that we've been attached to for our entire lives are no longer available.
Right.
So now what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And the people that are willing to change and willing to grow, they're flourishing right now.
And I would like to say to some of the people who are watching us who are on hard times right now, let me tell you, I truly, truly believe, after doing money with people for 25 years, if the job falls out of your life, if you've been disrupted and you've been plucked out of what you knew, almost every single time you got signs way before that ever happened that you were supposed to leave that anyway.
Yeah.
And I really want people to try to look at this, even though it's super scary on so many levels, to not go to the place of fear. Then it decreases your immune system and stress and everything. Go to the place of, where's my new adventure?
Right.
Where's my new opportunity? Where's my new? Because I have watched people go both ways on that over the years. And those who have the attitude of, all right, what's my next adventure? What's my new thing that I'm gonna start embracing and going into? Like, it all of a sudden shifts for people in ways that you can't even imagine, that are soul feeding, that you're just like, I never knew I could be this happy, but yet so scared on some levels. Like, I think back when my marriage was coming to an end, and I didn't even really actually know that, but like, I was getting opportunities. Like, I still wanted to take my kids on vacation. Okay, well, I was traveling with 4 kids, driving a car for 6 hours by myself because he didn't want to come and I still wanted to go. And I look at that was all preparation for me learning how to be a woman in business and having my kids to myself and being able to learn how to, the universe was giving me a way to build the muscle.
Yeah.
And so then when the transition actually happened, I was going, okay, I did this last year. I can do it again. And it's like, we have all got situations like that in our life. And it's so much about how we look at it and how we approach it. My nanny, bless her heart, she says to me all the time, she goes, oh yeah, I know how this all goes down, how this all ends, because it happened in, Bulgaria when the communists moved out, and all of a sudden we were all supposed to have these jobs, and we were like, she's sitting here going, yeah, I see how it's all going to end and how it's all going to go. And here it's unfolding exactly what she was talking about. Like, different components, but you can't be afraid of the change. Right. You can't, because otherwise it wires into your cellular body and then disease occurs, dis-ease. Then you get sick. And this is where I think it's so important for us to understand, like, we have to keep adapting and digesting what's going on outside of ourselves so that we stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's what's super important.
Absolutely. And astrologically speaking, that comes down to what are you going to allow to grab your attention, the south node or the north node? The south node right now. What the heck? So the south node is in Sagittarius, meaning
like camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, south node, north node. No.
Yeah, camera 1.
Camera 1, camera 2. Sorry.
No, you're good. So the south node in Sagittarius represents, like, It represents the media. It represents what's happening on the on the mass, like
So
on the
South is
macro
outside
scale.
of yourself.
Outside of yourself. Now, the North Node represents, you know, the unknown, like the future, and right now in Gemini, that represents community, represents building community. It represents speaking your truth. It represents debate and analysis within the mind, which is sort of a juxtaposition with the surrender aspect, because the North Node is asking us to sort of assess and analyze where we're going in life at the same time as surrendering. So that is the trigger, the trigger, yes, but also the trick of learning how to find peace in the present moment while being able to be the conscious observer of within your community, within your immediate reality of what you have going on inside your heart that you want to bring out into the world.
Right.
And being able to navigate every decision, every thought, every feeling, every step, and being able to say, okay, what is it that my heart wants? What is it that I want to accomplish it? Where does that want to go? And what is it that my soul needs? Like sometimes, especially right now, I know for me, I've gone through a few phases where it's like, okay, it's time to do some inner work. We need to step back a little bit from the actual creating stuff and moving forward. Okay. And just sort of coast in that area while we take a step back and we do some self-care. And for me, that is not the easiest thing to do because I'm a Capricorn and Aries rising. I like to go and make shit happen and keep it, you know, moving forward.
I'm a Sag. I get it.
Right. Yeah.
Fire, fire,
Same
fire
there.
right here.
Right. So for you, you're going through your sun sign. You have your South Node in your sun sign right now. So me, I just got finished with that. Right.
What does that mean?
It means that you have a lot of karma coming your way. So basically whatever.
Oh, good, because I put a lot of good stuff out there and I am so ready for it to come in.
There we go. Right. So for me, during my South Node transit, that's when my daughter was born.
Aww.
That's when this whole situation with my daughter went sideways. But it taught me it completely changed my life because it taught me how I was getting in my own way, how I was, you know, didn't have solid emotional boundaries, how I was maybe being a little bit narcissistic, how I was not taking care of myself, how I was not being honest with myself. So it threw it all in my face to be like, hey, look, this is where you're messing up. This is the things that you're not doing right. This is what you're doing because you're thinking lack. And this is where you have to. So a lot of these belief systems, these self-limiting belief systems that I had about myself, because mine's actually in my 9th house, which represents belief systems. Okay. And teaching and growing and learning. So I learned a lot of karmic lessons. Now, if you've been, you know, doing a better job than I was before that, then you're going to get a lot of karmic blessings coming in. Now, these were blessings, but they didn't look like it at first. Right?
Yeah, you know, all of it is. And again, going back to what we've been talking about, that our body knows that we know, like, when we're receiving information that is our truth, but yet sometimes we didn't really want to look in the mirror of that truth. Yep. And so, you know, there was a lot of that happened to me over the last couple of years of how, you know, it'd be very easy for me to blame my ex-husband as to how things unpacked, but it took two to tango. And I was able to see my participation in all of that and see, like, going, okay, you can't change it, but you can say, okay, but I want to be this person moving forward in relationship and kind of shift it and move it. So I think it's really important for us it goes back to digesting whatever shows up in our lives, 100%. Because if you can digest that information, then your physical body can digest everything else.
Yeah.
And that is really, really, really important, because otherwise you just create disease in your own body.
So true.
Yeah. And this is really about self-love and self-care.
Yeah. And a lot of us haven't never really done that, at least not to the extent that is required to evolve in the way that we need to evolve right now.
Right.
A lot of us have sacrificed ourselves for family or sacrificed ourselves for work. Like men have to be the provider, have to, you know, make sure that, you know, men go to work and, you know, travel and, you know, do all this. They're sort of disconnected, at least in the stereotypical sense of it. and and then women tend to feel lonely, and they tend to feel like neglected, and then they like, so this whole archetype, I feel, is falling apart, and it's taking on a whole new meaning, because women are not just supporting and staying at home. Now they are breadwinners. Now there's a lot of single moms out there, which is incredibly unfortunate. Okay, like we need to bring back a new type of family that is supportive, and that could be through community, right? That could be through what we're doing, right? That's why I created the Opportunity Community. That could be through actual family or ceremony.
Well, and I will also say that from a female perspective is that a lot of females don't actually sit very well in their feminine energy, which allows them to receive and allows them to open up to support. So there has been this, we can do it. I just think of that working woman in the 40s who's got the bandana on her head while all the men, and her hand in the air, like, yeah, like I'm going to muscle my way through. And it's like, women have muscled their way through, but that's not when we're at our magic. Us females are actually in our magic when we actually allow the support, allow the communication, and receive and learn to receive. Like, it doesn't have to be all on our shoulders. Like, there's plenty of women out there that are like, I'm a single mom. And it's like, oh, you're a martyr. And I'm not saying that single moms are martyrs, but even when the help shows up, you're so used to surviving that you don't necessarily know how to do that. And women need to learn to lead in their divine feminine power. We all have been taught in this generation and the generation after mine to lead by becoming male, and that's not it.
You're right.
We actually have to lead in who we are in our greatness, because all that does is create, again, it goes back to disease in your own body if you don't do that.
Yep.
And it's 100%. Super important to be able to lead as a female so that you actually are standing in your own power.
Yeah.
And we don't do that like men do that. We're not supposed to do it the way men do it.
Right.
We're supposed to do it in the nurturing way, in the feminine way, and so that it creates more wholeness.
And I think men are right now, men too are also in the process of discovering how to step into their more feminine role of feeling their feelings, right? And learning how to express their emotions as opposed to stuffing it down. Right now, we're going into a time where we're going to be purging the toxic masculine, and that is in men and women. So everything that you're talking about is going to become a problem in relationships here coming up in the next couple months. September to November is going to be like, like the hot zone, where it's going to be sort of like, like the metaphorical, frogs in a boiling pot.
Crabs in a bucket?
Crabs in a bucket. Yeah, sure. Where, it's like, okay, the answers are here, like the opportunity, and it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter until it's like, you're either going to die or jump, or, it's like shit or get off the pot. You're going to figure it out now.
Right. Well, and we all need to get to that place where we have to own our greatness.
Oh, yeah.
And be able to just let go of where maybe we haven't been as the way that we've wanted to show up in the past. And that we need to just step into what our knowing already is about ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is the challenge, because we're not following our internal knowing.
Right.
And if we were, we wouldn't be lashing out at the world. It's been very interesting. Like, I have tried to facilitate some healthy dialogue and communication on really emotionally tough topics, like masks, as an example. And it was very interesting to watch how so many people didn't even read what I wrote, but they reacted to the post itself. And being a feminine leader, I want to hold a safe space for people to voice an opinion, even if it was different than what other people's belief systems were. And that's part of me being in my feminine energy versus, you know, I could bark right back at you because I'm a good barker. I can bite back and bark. It's like I told you before, South Side. I'm a South Sider. You know, I know how to fight back and I know how to, but that's not me and my genius.
Right.
I'm in my genius when I actually sit back and hold space and then allow for everything to orchestrate the way that's meant to and guide it along the way, not like hit it between the eyeballs.
Right.
But like with the conversation of masks, people are hitting people over to the head with right square in the head.
Oh, it's terrible.
And you know what? Again, we will all get to the other side of this. We absolutely will. And there are things that are statistically better than not statistically better. And I get it. I get all the logic. But so much of this is not logic.
No, it's not.
So much of it is people have their old gunk coming up to be healed, which is why we're being triggered.
Right.
And that's our emotional health. And there's a lot of emotional health stuff that really needs to be looked at on an individual basis.
Yeah, you got that right.
Because I'm seeing people triggered all over the place.
It's so intense. It's so intense. And you know, it really, like, there is no logical rhyme or reason for half of it. So it's our responsibility to ourselves too, to not return the trigger, but respond in a polite and intellectual way. But I'll tell you what, man, that shit ain't easy right now.
No, it's not, because even you and I are not perfect, right?
No.
And especially when one is being attacked by another, you just sit there and go, but that's why it's so important to actually go back into the inside. Because it's like, okay, if I have found myself where I'm starting to plug into somebody else's, then that's when I'm sitting here going, you know what? I need to make sure that I meditate and do some of my energy work a little bit more tomorrow, because right now my nervous system is activated. And
absolutely.
And our nervous systems get activated because we're not following our internal guidance system.
Yeah. And that is the true test right now, is to be able to stay in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just reading, we've got great dialogue of everyone who's watching, and I really appreciate all of your comments.
Oh, beautiful.
And, our friend Elliot Eli Jackson says, the balance is happening, yet it is slow due to the past previous teachings and information. And I couldn't agree with that more, because there have been things that have been taught that aren't necessarily the reality that applies today.
Oh, so true.
And I think if we're in the flow and if we're in the present moment and we take things verbatim for what they are right now and not bring all of that stuff, and trust me, I'm smart. I have a lot of stuff up here in my head.
Right.
But if I bring any of that forward, it's not going to serve me well, because I'm not actually addressing what's happening in the present moment right here and right now.
Right.
Because I'm gunking it up with all this stuff from the past that I really just need to be like, you just go over there. You know, I gotta get the, give.
Right. Well, and that was sort of like the solar eclipse in Cancer. It's like drawing a line in the sand, and all that stuff from the past that keeps wanting to come up. We just have to be like, okay, I'm grateful for everything they did for me, but you can go bye-byes now, because you are no longer a part of this reality. And that's really...
I was watching myself, and I'll share this. I was watching myself. I had to reply to some legal documents today. And when I was replying to them, I was watching my nervous system. It tried to actually go back to where it was a couple years ago, when I was feeling like I was under assassination from getting all these legal documents and having to respond to defending myself. And this time, with all the work I've done, my nervous system couldn't even like plug into it. It was like, I tried to go left, but I was going, nope, you're going this way. So like when you do your work, you don't even plug into that stuff. Like it just becomes like, I could go there, but that's not the life I want to create, because I want to create this over here.
Right. That's beautiful.
And it's so amazing, because I'm always talking about that you have to clean up your past while living in the present moment to create the future that you desire. But if you're so stuck in your past, and in money, that shows up in debt. those are all your past choices.
Right.
And it's like a lead balloon that's dragging you down, which is why you got to put those payments on autopilot and not even think about them. So you can feel empowered in the present moment with how you're using your cash flow. Yeah. And then what seeds are you planting then for your future? Because money is energy, and what do you want to energize? And you know your health works the exact same way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? That whatever you're doing today, like think of it as like your past is the fat molecules on your body. Or
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Like, what you eat in private, you wear in public. That's what I like to say.
Say that again?
What you eat in private, you wear in public.
Ooh, I like that. That's like a bumper sticker.
Right? That's actually a saying that I have to give kudos to my friend Larissa Reese. She owns Protein House, and that was one of her favorite sayings. But I agree with it very much.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
It shows up somewhere. It's like the spending hangover you have in December after all the holidays, and you get the credit card bill in January.
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So really about being in the present moment. Now with their body feeling off, okay, it's happening a lot everywhere right now. It's so critically important to take care of your physical health through nutrition. Get the Viome test, get on Euphoria. You know, like I highly recommend.
Because maybe not everybody's heard that stuff, what the Viome is and the Euphoria.
Yeah, sure. So through my 22 years of experience being an athlete, coaching, and just going through my own stuff, competing and whatnot, I've come up with this system. It's very it's very diverse. It's very dynamic, meaning that you can take it and it works custom to your body. Two fundamental things that I have people do is I have them get a Viome test done, which is a microbiome test, an at-home stool sample kit that you get, you send it in, and you go on an app.
My 6-year-old was very excited that she got to mail mom's poop.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not something you do every day, but
a little vial, sweetie. It wasn't actually just straight up.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. So you send this in, and you go on an app. You have to answer a bunch of questions, and about 2 weeks later, you get all this information about your how your gut works, what foods to avoid, what foods to consume, what different aspects of your gut is working efficiently, what's not. There is so much information on there. It's like a semester of college, honestly, if you really want to get deep into it. All right. So this will help you understand how your gut is working, which is pleomorphic in nature. Pleomorphic means bacteria is what runs, the body, but primarily the gut, and it is influenced through its environment. So it changes with this environment. And fundamentally that is through the pH. Okay. So because it's pleomorphic, we can change it. We have the ability to shift it through our processing when we bring into the body from the outside world. Right now we have our DNA that stays the same for the most part. Okay. Now there are extenuating circumstances, like especially with this whole new vaccine thing that's coming out. They're actually putting ingredients in to modify our DNA. People can go in there and actually.
That.
What's that?
I keep hearing that.
Oh, it's scary. It is beyond scary. Okay. But different things that we can do can modify the DNA. But we have over, I believe it's 10,000 SNPs in our DNA. So SNPs are basically like the lines that go on the inside of the two strands. Okay. And each one represents how like different parts of the DNA function. But there are certain ones that are foundational, right? So we work with the foundational ones that really determine the fundamental aspects of how all the systems work in your body, right? That we can smooth out how they work. So over time, these SNPs or the DNA can become tarnished or damaged. That's basically what aging is, right? At the end of our SNPs, we have
telomeres, right?
Yeah, we have telomeres, and as we age, those telomeres become frayed.
Yeah.
Okay. So what this really does is it strengthens the telomeres. And if you picture DNA like a highway, over time and with wear and tear, you get cracks, you get potholes, you get all kinds of debris and stuff growing in there. Well, what the Euphoria does, it goes in there and it measures these parts of your DNA and it smooths out the surface of that highway. So it allows the cellular functioning to be optimized, like when we were in optimal health, when we were younger.
Right.
So between addressing the DNA portion and the environment portion, we're able to bring the body back into alignment with all that information alone. And now when we bring the body into alignment, that means that we can get off medications. We can get away from these behavior patterns that are basically killing us. Okay, we can get healthier. We have energy. We sleep better. Our brain functions more efficiently. And also at the same time, though, all these suppressed emotions will come up because emotions are synonymous with the imbalances or balances of our physical body.
Right.
Okay. So with this, you have to be ready and willing to really grow and really put in the work. But when you do, and you take this one fundamental approach, okay, this is just like one massive part of the staging of my transformational protocol that I've created. But when you do this, it'll literally change your life. And it'll actually give you the impetus, the confidence, and like the encouragement to take the next steps of going more and more into this transformation. You'll feel so good just being like, coming into balance, especially if you've been way out of balance. All right. And this is physically and emotionally too.
Well, which also affects the mental.
100%. Yeah. But say like the one big struggle you have is depression or anxiety, right? Well, usually say you have candida, or you've had like gut issues or something like that for a long time, or if you've been on medications for a while, you definitely have gut issues. Okay. And usually that makes like fungus or mold grow in your small intestine. So with the growth of that mold, of that fungus, that blocks serotonin from being secreted. And up to 90% of serotonin is secreted in our gut. So that alone, it's blocking serotonin and then you go to the doctor.
That creates the depression, right?
Exactly. Or even anxiety too.
Yeah.
Okay.
There certainly is a lot of that going around these
days. Right. You feel blocked from yourself. It's like, no matter what, you can't feel happy. You can't feel good. And that is a shitty feeling to have 24/7. So it's really as simply as giving the body what it needs, avoiding what it doesn't, and then allowing the process to unfold. But the unfortunate thing is, in this day and age, a lot of people are looking for that magic pill or that magic thing that's going to make them feel all better. And that's what leads to addiction. That's what leads to antidepressants, antipsychotics.
That's so true.
And it's just, and then that just further complicates and makes the situation worse. And, we really have to come back to the fundamentals and keep it simple. Like true change with money, from what I learned from you, and with the body, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's the fundamentals.
It's the basics, right? And we've tried, we've become accustomed to paying a bunch of money to get to something, and that doesn't need to happen, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, enough. You don't need to pay for the magic bullet. It's really just about loving yourself. And, and as I was hearing you talk, I was sitting there going, I ran through your system, and I lost 35 pounds since January, and I've been pretty stagnant, if you will, over the last couple months, but I've been maintaining exactly where I got. But I also know I've had a lot coming at me. So I'm trying to now that I've unpacked the emotions that I was holding on, there's I'm learning to interface in the world in a more vulnerable and open space, because I've let go of, some of the weight that I was holding on to protect myself from that stuff.
Right. So with that, with what you're going through, similar with what I'm going through, like financially, actually, I find that when I have those experiences that need me to sit back and to work through some more energetic stuff, I become stagnant in my money. It's consistent. Okay. I'm okay, but I'm not building like I want to be building.
Right.
Same thing with you. The results aren't coming as fast, but there's going to be periods of time where that's going to float, and you got to do the inner work, and then that's going to catch up, and then you'll have another burst of 2, 3, 6 months where you start killing it again, right? Just like with me financially.
Well, it's like, I know from a physiological perspective that my body, what I learned through doing the microbiome test and everything, that my body really does operate better on vegetables, and once in a while I need meat.
And you figured it out.
I figured it out. So the challenge is like, what is it that's blocking me from then just operating that way all the time? And I haven't been able to, it's funny, like I'll get to like the end of day 2 of eating all vegetables and eating as much as I want, like not limiting myself and eating everything that I desire to eat because I prefer vegetables over other things. Then I get to the end of day 2 and it's like, I can't get over the hump to day 3. And it's like, so I still have yet to figure out what that is.
So, well, of course, you and I both know that the key to figuring it out is not to try to figure it out. But it's a lot easier said than done. One. Number two, I think it's about to, you may have to get another 𝑣IOM test done because that needs to be done about every 3 to 6 months.
Oh yeah, I'm right about 6 months mark. That's a good point. Yeah,
right.
to now see what the next
so because it's pleomorphic, right? You start gaining an edge and you start finding like a good flow, and then the gut's like, all right, we're gonna change it up now, right? When you get used to it, right? Now, but the good thing is that once you get to this point, you get the test done. Now you see there's some new foods that are gonna be better for you. You got to get rid of some of the old foods to bring some new different pH balancing in there, and this will bring your gut to functioning at an even higher, more optimized level, right? And that will actually improve, your immune system. Like, so it's like you've gotten to the glass ceiling in this one level. Now it's time to up it.
Go to the next level.
That information again.
Totally get it. Yeah. Right? Yeah, well, and then for me, which might be true for a lot of people, is that you can't tell me I can't have something because I'll go do it in spades. Like, don't tell me I can't have whatever I want, when I want it, and how I want it. Like, there is a mental part of my fire in my Sagittarius little being that don't tell me I can't do it because I will. And so I've always had to approach it from a place of empowerment, going, I'm not denying myself anything. Right. But I have to have, like, for me, it's like, wow, when I eat that certain way, gosh, I have more energy, and that's what my preference is. Yeah. It's not about that I can't have something. Right. It's about that it's my preference because I've now physiologically felt the difference, and that's what I prefer.
And once you feel the difference, now you have a reference point, and that reference point is everything.
Yep, absolutely. And we just need to know that about ourselves and be like, okay, like people be like, well, you should just do this, this, and this. I'm like, yeah, nope, because that's going to make me feel like I can't have what I want. And that's not a good feeling.
No, it's not. There should never be any restriction ever. Even even during like bodybuilding competition, right? Like the way that I used to approach nutrition during that was like, okay, in order to optimize my performance, in order to maximize my fat loss and muscle gain, I will eat like this, this, and this. It's not like, oh, I can't eat this or I can't eat that. No, it's about what do I get to do to get this result. And you have to have that mindset because that is putting the energy out there. Like you want to grow.
And that's like when I walk people through what I call the PACT process in my book, Awaken Your Wealth, that you have to picture what it is that you want to create. Yeah. Because that's your compelling reason for change. And without that, you're going to repeat your suffering cycles. So you're not going to get to the next place because there's no other compelling reason except the fact that your heart desires something completely different. Right. And if your heart's not in it, it's not going to be sustainable. There's no way it's going to be sustainable.
You got that right.
Yeah, because your heart is the thing that matters the most. And it's the thing that many of us have ignored the most. Because that pain in there from whatever trauma it is that we've gone through, a lot of people are not willing to face that pain in order to get to the other side of it. But that is where, the pain is where the love gets in. That's like they're two sides of the same coin. Yeah. So it's like you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta crack yourself open. Think of yourself like an egg. You're cracking yourself open.
Exactly.
And it's okay that all the good and the bad parts just come out.
I like to look at it more like a glow stick, You crack it open, then you're just shining bright, right?
I have a whole box of those in my kitchen right now. My kids convinced me to buy 100 of those the other day.
For what?
Glow sticks. I don't know. They said, Mom, it'll be fun on the beach. I'm like, okay.
You know what I did one time? I cracked it open and I drank it. Oh. Yeah, I'm lucky I was.
No, it wasn't those sugary tube things when we were kids.
No, this is actual glow stick that you use at like raves and shit. Yeah. Yeah, I had a black light and we're all hanging out at a party and I had the show. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't very smart. I was also the kid in elementary school that ate glue. You know,
Oh boy.
I did some. I wasn't
Well,
very.
that had to be fun.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
for those of you who would like to find out more information from this guy who eats glue.
Yeah. Hey, if I can do it, you can too. Yay!
Woo! Ma'am, tell how everybody can find you.
Yeah, sure. You guys can go to my website, spiritualbodybuilder.com. And there I do astrology readings. I do spiritual health coaching. I do the opportunity community. And you can download my free ebook that has all this amazing information that we talk about every week. And Julie, what about you?
Yeah, find me on juliemurphy.com. I am super excited. In the next couple weeks, we have a couple things starting. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., we are having our first energy session to awaken your soul and align your energy with your soul with a dear friend of mine who's in Sedona. We're going to do an energy session. So 8 a.m. Central tomorrow morning, if you want to join me and my friend 𝙁𝙠𝙚𝙀 to energetically raise your vibration. The other is that I have a big course that's coming out to help you awaken your wealth, as well as a shorter mini version. So wherever you are on a fiscal perspective, I have created products that will help you on your next step of your journey, and that'll come out in the next couple weeks.
Oh man, that's awesome. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. You know,
Yeah.
lots of love to everybody, because we all deserve to go to this next vibrational place that creates more happiness, more love, more of everything that you've ever decided that you want in your life, because you are the creator of your life. And so I dare you to give it a try.
Double dare you.
Triple dare you. All right, everybody. Well, we'll see you next Monday again, 8 a.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. Right?
Mean
Next
PM?
Monday.
Mean PM?
PM. Did I say AM? PM.
Yeah, I heard AM. So yeah,
Well,
PM.
PM.
Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Yes.
Voila.
Or 7 p.m. Mountain.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. We got them all. Love you guys.
Take care.